Hello and welcome. This is Pam. We are having a wonderful get together today. We're going to do a fun activity, and the topic today is a fresh start for health. We are just starting the new year, 2022, and I'm going to go through a really simple activity with you that's going to help you to really prioritize three vital, very, very important aspects of health so that you can have the most amazing year. And that is my real hope and desire for you. So as you're joining in, what I'd like you to do is type in your questions and I'd like you to interact with me. The first thing I wanted to do is ask you, have you already created some goals for this year? Have you started to write them down? Do you guys have any goals? Have you set goals for yourself in the past? Have you been successful at meeting your goals? And we do know that with goal setting, it really does require us to have different habits. And there's a lot of psychology that goes behind this. So in order for us to actually live the life that we want to live, we have to focus on certain things. And as you're joining here, I'd love for you guys to participate along with me. Number one is that grab a piece of paper and a pen. That's what I would do, is grab a piece of paper and a pen, because I'm going to go through this activity with you. It's very simple and it will really get you off to a good start. And that is my goal for you. So number one, well, I'm just going to pull up my notes here. So when we set goals, we have to make sure that they meet certain criteria if we want to be successful. They have to be very clear. They have to be specific. They have to be time sensitive. They have to be realistic. They have to be something that we can actually achieve. And so today, when we go through this activity, we're not going to just do huge goals. We want to have goals that we can actually attain, that we can be successful with, because that really motivates us to have other goals too. So I'm just going to check here. I don't see, I want to make sure that there you go. There, it took a bit for everybody to get connected here. So if you're just joining, make sure you grab a piece of paper and a pen. And we're going to do a really simple little activity here that's going to get you off to a really great start for this year. And this year is all about a fresh start, a new beginning. And that's what is so exciting about this time of year. It really gives us an opportunity to kind of look back on last year and see what didn't work and where we want our life to be. And so we're not going to do huge goals. We're going to make sure that they are very attainable, they're specific, they're time sensitive, and realistic for us to achieve. And as I was mentioning, because I know that some of you are just joining now, but if you have set goals before, have you been able to attain them? Yes or no? Maybe share with me your experience. Is it frustrating? Are you a real achiever? Do you like to set goals? Because I know for some people it can be really frustrating, or for some people it can be really motivating. But it is important, because if we don't set certain expectations for how we want to live our life and what we want to accomplish, we really miss out on a lot, because life gets in the way, right? So again, as I mentioned, if we want to achieve our goals, we have to establish new habits. And habits are established in two ways. Number one, we have to create a very strong intention. What do you intend to accomplish this year? And we're just talking about your health right now. We're not going to talk about personal life and finances and all those other things, but we're going to keep it simple. So get your pen and paper out and write down on there, what do you intend to accomplish for your health this year? Really important. All right. And there's a saying from Brian Clemmer, and he's one of the professional development people that I studied under. And he said that when your intention is strong enough, the how-to shows up. Because sometimes we have an intention, maybe it's to change our diet, maybe we want to become fit, maybe we want to recover from chronic disease like MS or other disease. And I can just share my example. When I was just 28 years old, and I was diagnosed with MS, and I was told there was no hope for me for a cure, that I would be completely disabled in time. And so for me, that was really devastating. And so my intention was not to end up in a wheelchair. I didn't know how. This was back in 1988. I didn't have a health coach. There was very little knowledge about integrative health. But my intention, what I wanted to accomplish, was so strong that the how to showed up. I figured out how to beat multiple sclerosis by treating infections that were causing the MS. And so I didn't know at the time that I'd be able to figure that out, but since then I have. So that is why, number one, when you're going to start your goals, like, what do you intend to accomplish this year with respect to your health? So maybe it's you want to reach your ideal body shape, weight. Maybe you want to become fit, or maybe you want to recover from chronic disease. Maybe all of those things are important to you. So just write that down. And then the next thing that I want you to consider is, why do you have to accomplish this? And this is really important. So it's one thing to just say, well, I want to reach my ideal body weight because I can wear my clothes that I like, or I'll feel good about myself. But if you go deeper, and so this is another example for myself, like, why did I want to coach others and help them recover? Like, how is that going to impact my life, my family's life, the students and the students' lives and their families, and on and on and on. And I literally wrote at least 25 to 30 pages of why I had to do this work. So you can spend, and right now you don't have to spend a lot of time, but I challenge you to take some time and say, why do I have to beat this? Why do I have to recover? How is this going to impact your life? All the things that you've always wanted to do, how is this going to impact your loved ones? Maybe you have children, maybe you have grandchildren, maybe there's certain volunteer things that you wanted to do, maybe there's certain places that you wanted to travel. So this is the foundation of your success for reaching your goals, is to, first of all, what do you want to accomplish, and why? Why is this so important? So if what you want to accomplish, your intention is very clear and your why is super strong, then there's nothing that can stop you. And you need that at the beginning, when you're just starting to move towards working at your goal. Because at the start, we'll talk about this, but there's lots of challenges. But if you are just so incredibly inspired and excited and motivated about what your life is going to be like, and I understand that when we've been diagnosed with chronic disease, a lot of times we lose that. We lose that zest for life. We lose that hope. But I'm telling you that you don't have to, because you can just check with the Wellness Champions on our Live Disease Free YouTube page. We have a playlist, or on our website, Live Disease Free. You can listen to others just like myself that have recovered from chronic disease, and we are living an amazing life. So over the holidays, I had a little bit too much activity. We moved, and we had a new grandson. And so I was really helping my daughter-in-law and moving. And so we're going to recuperate from all of that. But I can do these things because I followed through with my goals, and I had a very clear intention, a very strong why, and a very strong intention also. And that was the biggest part of my success. I was not going to end up in a wheelchair. So whatever that is for you, and if you can just spend time, and you can do other things too, like you can take pictures of yourself when you felt really great, doing the things you love to do, and post those around the house. You want to get your brain starting to think, okay, we're moving forward. We're moving forward to the life that we want to have. So super important that not before, but like you can do this after, but your intention and your why. And don't just write one sentence down for your why, but try to just go deep and say, well, if I had my mobility back, I'd like to travel to these places, and I'd like to try these different, foods, and I'd like to see these cultures, and I'd like to learn the language, and I'd like to volunteer with these different organizations, and I'd like to do this work. I've always wanted a career in this, and I'd be able to be so much more involved with my grandkids. And I really for myself, I want to go horse riding with my grandkids, and I can, but it's always been too busy. So now the grandkids are also getting older. So those are things that we can start to take in. So there's all these things that are on your bucket list that you've always wanted to do. And if you really spend, time just dreaming about it and just spend time there every day, a few minutes, it's going to pull you out of this current reality that you're in, and you're going to be, just dead set to go for your goals. So really, really important. So this is the psychology that you need to build different habits. And when you have different habits, then you can build your goals. You can follow your goals. All right, so we talked about the goals, that they have to be specific and measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. You want to put a time frame on them. So let's talk about the 3. So make sure you have your pen and paper, and make sure to write down these 3 areas that we're going to focus on. Number 1 is diet. And I would assume for everyone, this is a really important topic. Maybe you're healthy, or you think you're healthy. You believe you're healthy. Maybe you have some little symptoms. Maybe you're a little overweight, whatever. But you know that you could eat healthier. So what I want you to do is just write down one thing that you are willing to work towards with your goals. So maybe it is really reducing the sugar. That's one thing I would really focus on. And maybe you don't like sugar. Maybe you like saltier foods. So maybe you go more towards the processed carbs, the saltier chips, etc. So whether it's sugar or processed carbs, it all turns into sugar in your blood. So maybe your goal is to really limit your intake of those, or maybe it's alcohol or caffeine, or reducing. So maybe if you're super healthy and you don't have chronic disease, but you just want to maintain your health, then start looking at those areas: alcohol, caffeine intake, and sugar. And so it can even be just too many carbs, right? So whatever. So just focus on that. If you are dealing with chronic disease, then you know that diet is really important for your recovery. So then we are going to be having a little bit bigger of a goal. And what I wanted to say is, do you guys like a challenge? Would you like to join in on the Live Disease-Free Eating Challenge? We're going to have the kickoff, I believe it is on January the 26th. It is really a lot of fun. And I'll be hosting a live event to kick it off, and it'll be Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific. And the fun thing about this is that we share recipes, we share meal ideas, and the successes of when we're implementing these changes to our diet. So the Live Disease-Free diet, if you have never met me before, it is a low-carb diet. It is really important when we want to recover from chronic disease, because if you've been following my work, you know that chronic disease is caused by infections in the body, and these infections thrive on carbohydrates. So as we decrease the carbs, then we notice that our symptoms start to go down because the inflammation is starting to go down. We have a lot of improvements in bladder function, less pain. We can have increased mobility, sleeping better, and it just goes on. Mood is better. So this is really fun, a fun way to work together, to share ideas. And there's prizes, there's cash prizes for people that have the most entries. We'll be doing a draw. So I shouldn't say the most entries, but we'll be doing a draw. So the more entries you have, the better opportunity you have of winning cash. And it'll be Amazon gift cards. So that is one way that I can help you. Let's say that you want to get a head start. So if you would like to get a head start on this, you can go to Live Disease Free, our YouTube channel, and you can go there and watch some videos. We have a playlist about the Live Disease Free diet. Sorry, I'm working on a little bit of a cold here. And our whole family was sick, not COVID, thank goodness. All the little kids were, but I'm doing fine, but just a little bit hoarse of a voice. So you can go to livediseasefree.com, or no, Live Disease Free YouTube channel. And when you go there, go to the playlist of the diet and you can watch some videos on how to follow the diet. If you join the Live Disease Free community, you will see that there is a cheat sheet there and you can print it off. It's just a one pager and it has the guidelines on the back and it has like what you can eat and what you should avoid on the front. So you can get a head start and you can start to implement and start to follow, get your recipes together, etc. And you'll have more entries and you'll have a greater opportunity to win. And the biggest thing of all of this is the successes. So people notice that they have huge improvements in their symptoms within a week or two. It doesn't matter if you have MS or whatever chronic disease you're dealing with. And maybe you don't have chronic disease, maybe you just have gut issues. You'll notice that your gut is really happy. So the Live Disease Free diet, you can find the guidelines on the Live Disease Free community in Facebook, and you can find videos on how to follow it under Live Disease Free YouTube channel, and the playlist is the Live Disease Free diet. So you'll have lots of resources there, and who doesn't want to start feeling well? So you don't have to wait till January the 26th. So diet is really critical for health. We all know that, but what is the best diet? You'll learn why this is so important. It is because what's causing our symptoms are these infections, and as you decrease the food to them, we start to have symptom improvement, and this really helps the treatment phase to go really well. We improve a lot quicker with the treatments. Yes. All right, so what I'd like you to do, the next topic we are going to talk about is fitness. And I want to ask you, so put this on your paper, fitness, write down what activities do I like to do? Do I love to do? So if you're healthy and you have your mobility, then it might be, well, I really like team sports because I like, being with other people, or maybe I like to be on my own. Maybe I like to just do cardio or exercise or whatever. So just add one thing. Don't make it huge that you cannot attain your goals, but just add one thing, whether you're adding in, maybe you're going to be a little bit more active. Maybe it's going for walks more regularly, or it is going to be, working out for a little bit longer periods of time or a little bit more often, but keep it simple. Keep it to the point where you can be successful at it. That is the key with your goals, is that you want to know that you're going to be able to be successful. If you make too big of a goal and you don't succeed, you're just going to frustrate yourself. You're going to feel defeated and it's not going to work. So if you're healthy, add in one activity, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's maybe cardio once or twice a week, or it's weight training or whatever you're not doing that you want to do, add that in. Or maybe it's improving your intervals. Maybe it is going for a 5K. I don't know with COVID I know that a lot of places are shut down with these 5K and 10K runs, but you could write that down too, but you could do it on your own or with a friend. If you're dealing with chronic disease, a lot of times we have disability and we can't do all the activities, but there are certain things you can do. And so this is where it might be stretches. It might be that you're committed to doing stretches every morning. Start with that. And if you are developing a new habit of doing that, then that is wonderful. And then you can continue from there. But pace yourself. Whatever activity you take on, make sure that you treat your energy like a bank account. So you don't want to overextend or overburn your energy. So we notice this with our students in the Live Disease Free Academy. As they start to get their energy back and they start to feel better, they start to overdo it, and then they can feel a little bit wasted the next day. And then they learn, okay, well, I'm just not going to push it that hard. But it is so exciting when you can start to do things you haven't done for years. So that would be a thing to do, is just use a resource also like the MS Gym. We love the MS Gym, and they are a group that have a lot of free content online where you can find little exercises, especially if we have disability. But I want to tell you that when you treat the infections that are causing the MS or whatever disease that you're dealing with, you can have a lot of recovery, and you sometimes can have full recovery very often. So that's the exciting thing, and that's going to lead us into the third part that we're going to talk about with respect to goals. So the first one was diet, and of course, the new year, we're all talking about diet for sure, but this diet really is for health, and it is for helping us to get ready to work on correcting our microbiome, the microbes that live in our body. And it is longevity, it is anti-aging, it will make you feel amazing. All right, so second one was fitness, and do what you can do. Maybe it is just, if you're disabled, it could be stretches, it could be just walking around your kitchen table, but just over a week or two, or maybe it's just really short walks, whatever you can do. Maybe you can still get on your stationary bike in your home, but commit to it, and make it doable and make it time sensitive. Like, when are you going to start? So just keep it simple that way. Okay, let's go to the third part, the third topic. So we're just talking about 3 topics: diet, exercise, and balancing the microbes that live in our body, restoring balance. So this is something that is overlooked in society, and this is really the biggest factor to your success, because if you have too many disease-causing microbes in your body, you are going to feel wasted. You are going to feel depressed. You could feel anxious. You can have pain. You can have a foggy head. You feel stiff. You can have swelling, edema, etc. And so it's really hard to exercise when you feel so lousy. And it's really hard to eat the right foods when number one, these infections make you crave carbohydrates like a drug. So that is why we have to consider this third part when we're talking about health goals, because when you really start to acknowledge what's causing all of these symptoms you're dealing with, all of the cognitive issues, the brain fog, the memory issues, the mood issues, the mobility issues, the pain issues, etc. When you understand where that's coming from, it's not coming from a poor diet. It's not coming from lack of exercise. Those things are important for health. But if you are really out of balance, you will lose your ability to exercise. That's a lot of our students that, found the academy. They were athletes before they had MS. And over time, they lost their ability. So it's equally important to consider what is living in my body, because that is really what's causing us to feel lousy. So when we're working at correcting that, we are going to have more energy. We are going to feel more positive and more hopeful. So we're going to be able to stick with our diet easier. We're going to be able to exercise more. We will have more stamina. And so it's really, really important to do that. So dysbiosis means that we're out of balance. We have too many disease-causing microbes and not enough health-promoting microbes in our body. And that's something I've been talking about for many, many years. And if you've been following my work on YouTube and Facebook, you'll see that I'm sharing a lot of research. And actually, not next week, but the week after, I'll be sharing some new research that was just published in December 2021, where they were talking about this. The researchers found that there's certain bacteria toxins, neurotoxins, that are present in the brain, in the plasma and the spinal fluid of MS patients, but not in healthy control people, like healthy controls for the study. And they believe that these neurotoxins that are present in the plasma and in the central nervous system are definitely linked with causing damage to nerves, and also a disruption in the communication between our gut and our brain. So definitely impacting our nerves. So this is a huge, and I'm going to spend a lot of time this year really bringing this research to the surface, bringing it out. And those of you that are following me, I really hope that you will share this with other people, get other MS communities talking about it. This is the only way we're going to change the way we treat MS and other chronic disease, is by getting this truth out. This is a huge field, and I don't understand why we're not talking about it. take this to your neurologist, say, hey, are you following this research? I thought you should be aware of it, because they're not getting this information. So that will be covered not next week, but the week after. Next week, I will be hosting my live masterclass training, which I only do 3 times a year. And in that masterclass training, that is where I'll be sharing with you, number one, how we become out of balance, like how we end up with all these infections, these different types of parasites. Some are bacterial, some are. So again, we're not going to find one pill cure for MS or any other disease. We're out of balance, and it's really called dysbiosis. That's the word for meaning we're out of balance. So we will have different fungal infections, we will have bacteria, we will have worms, and we will have certain protists, which are single cell parasites. And so on that training, and that'll be at 5 o'clock Pacific next Wednesday, I'll be live. Number one, I'll share with you, like, just touching on the research of, how we end up in this position. How did we get sick? And with the research, and then also a lot of case studies of students, their experiences in recovering by, number one, following the Live Disease-Free plan. And what we do is number one, we follow this Live Disease-Free diet. That's the first step. The second step is to support the body. So making sure we're eliminating toxins and we're getting the detox pathways open and just supporting our physiology and cleaning up our environment of certain things like mold and radiation, etc. So we're feeling a lot better already. We're still sick, but we're feeling a lot better. And then we get to the place where we're building the game plan to treat. And I'll be talking about all these steps. I'll be talking about the experiences of the students, and you'll see their case studies. So you'll know all the steps of the Live Disease-Free plan in detail. And this is what I have used and the wellness champions have used to recover from MS and other chronic diseases. And I'll be sharing that. And then at the end, which is my favorite part, I will be answering your questions live. So that is, again, this coming Wednesday, January the 12th at 5 o'clock Pacific. I will put the link in the description of this video, and I will also put the link below, like in the feed of the comments. So I hope you can join me, and make sure to register right away, because the spaces get filled up, and make sure to show up like 5 minutes early to make sure that you are in, because technology, it always works when, it doesn't always work when you want it to work. So make sure to get in quickly, and I'm excited to meet you and answer your questions. And this year is going to be an exciting year on the Live Disease-Free front, because we are going to push really hard to get knowledge out about these infections and to get the information out as far as the successes that we're having. The students are having amazing successes. I just wanted to share a couple with you. We had our call last night. We have the Live Disease-Free Academy students are in there right now. And 2 students that I just grabbed their successes. So one student shared, so she's in the prep phase. She is just following the Live Disease-Free diet, and she's also supporting the body, and she's just getting ready to treat. And she had COVID just when she started to start the Live Disease-Free plan, which was frustrating. So she just got COVID. She had to recover from it over a week or so, and then she was able to start the plan. But she said, I'm feeling quite a bit better overall. The bladder issues seem to be settling down, and I'm feeling stronger, and I'm able to exercise more. I've had a super busy time over the holidays with family stuff. I managed really well. I never really experienced the fatigue or the feeling of being completely overwhelmed. That became the norm when my large family would get together. I'm excited to go to the coast and relax with my husband, looking forward to walking on the sand. I haven't been able to do that successfully for a couple of years. I believe that I can do that now. So her mobility has improved that much just in the prep phase. I've been focusing on lesson 2, and that's really to understand how she got sick. And so she followed the diet and supporting the body. And lesson 2 is to really understand how she got to this place with MS. And she said, I'm ready to move on, and I'm working through lesson 3 now. So she's just starting to build the game plan for treating. And she said, I didn't realize how sick I really was. It's taken me some time to get my bowels moving, and my sleep is finally doing better also. So those are all the things that we want to see before we start treating. We want to see that we're sleeping a lot better. We're getting, 8 hours of sleep per night. It might not be perfect, but we're definitely getting close to that. Having daily bowel movements, having more energy. Her mobility has improved already. Bladder bowel function has improved significantly. And she's done all of that without even treating yet. And that makes the treatment phase so much more successful. So really, really important. The other one I just wanted to share is another wellness champion who's right now just starting to treat. And she said, "Happy New Year, Pam. I'm still feeling great with the improvements of no MS hug. And my bladder has healed and sleeping is so much, much better." And she's just starting to treat also. With respect to bladder function, we noticed that within a week to a week and a half's time, if the students get the total grams of carbs into the target zone, they notice huge improvements with their bladder function, right? Really, really quickly. So that's one of the first symptoms that we notice that improves a lot. And again, these bladder issues that we're dealing with, whether it's urgency, whether it is frequent urinary tract infections, they are caused directly by infections or by the toxins produced by these infections. And as we treat them, then our bladder works normal again. And then we can go out and we can spend time with our family and our friends, and we don't have to rush to bathrooms. And that is a wonderful thing. And some people have bowel urgency and some people are constipated, and that all settles down. But that's all part of the infections. That's what the infections are causing. Those are symptoms. So very, very important that we follow all those steps. And this Live Disease-Free plan is a proven plan. And you'll see many students that have had miraculous recoveries. And it's super exciting. And I did want to share again, if you are really disabled and you've been sick for a long period of time, or maybe you have progressive multiple sclerosis, you'll see that this will work for you. You will be able to stop the progression of the disease. It's not going to get any worse, and you'll have a lot of recovery, a lot more than you thought possible. So I'll be sharing all of this next week. Don't miss it. I won't be sharing it for several months again. This will be live. I will answer your questions. And there is nobody in the world talking like this with all of this information. And there's tons of research, and that's the frustrating thing. So the wellness champions are the army that are helping us to change the world, that are helping us to make sure that we help to change the way that chronic disease is treated. You're so very welcome. I'm going to go to your questions really quickly here. All right. So hi, Alicia. When did you start using the herb supplements and start to detox? So in the academy, so number one, we follow the diet, the Live Disease-Free diet. So this is what the students do. They follow the Live Disease-Free diet. And when they're working with us in the academy, then I'm checking their work to see what they're eating. And they are checking also themselves with a chronometer to make sure that their carbs are in the right target zone. So they want to have 35 to 40 total grams of carbs per day. Again, if you just joined us late, you can find the guidelines and what to eat and what to avoid in the Live Disease-Free community on Facebook. There is a file download that you can grab there, and that's a place for the public to meet. So we want to follow the diet, and we want to get the carbs low enough. And when you do, you'll notice a lot of symptom improvements. I know we talked about that already. And then we just work through the checklist for healing, just checking those items off. And then we go through lesson 2, and lesson 3 is where we're building the game plan to treat. And when students are going to start to build a game plan to treat, then what they do is they will start with herbs and oxidizing agents, and as they are getting the parasite drugs lined up. So they want to get samples of the parasite drugs. They're getting tested to see which are most helpful for them. And then they are getting prescriptions for the parasite drugs. So we have found that treating these infections requires a layering of therapies. Parasite drugs, antifungal drugs, and the herbs and the oxidizing agents. And when we use those in combination for what we test well for, it's not the same for every person. That is really where the magic happens. And these treatments are tolerated really, really well. We're having a lot more success now that we're using the parasite drugs than before when we were just using herbs. So herbs are great. I wish they were enough on their own, but we have found that they're not at this point enough on their own to, especially for people that have had MS for a while, that maybe have been sick for a long period of time. So it usually takes students 3 to 6 weeks to get ready to treat, following lesson 1, the checklist for healing, and lesson 2, and then they're at lesson 3, and that's where they're building the game plan. And in the Live Disease-Free plan, I'm teaching the students how to take charge of their health. So they're actively involved in every step of building this plan, because once they're done and they know what they're doing and they know how to find whichever practitioners they need and they know how to maneuver through all the different steps, they have the skill for life. And this is not a disease-specific plan. This plan will help anyone prevent chronic disease, but it also will help any person that's dealing with chronic disease, because all chronic disease has an infectious component to it. There is some type of microbes out of balance with cancer, with all autoimmune, with heart disease, etc. But the only way we can recover is using a holistic approach. So again, I really hope, Joanne, I see that you missed it. No worries, that it will be a replay, but please take this opportunity and just go through those 3 simple steps to build a vision for yourself. Create a vision for yourself for this year. Make this year your very, very best year. Next week, I will not be here live, but I hope that you join me on my live masterclass training, how myself and many others are recovering from MS and living MS symptom-free. Again, I'll be able to answer all your questions at the end of my call, and we'll be talking about things that is not being talked about anywhere in the world, which is really sad. But, and I shouldn't say that, like, there are doctors that treat infection, but they're really hard to find, and they're not educating the public about this. They have their own practice, but there are very, very few of them. And there are some really wonderful healthcare professionals that think that parasites are really good for MS, and that is not true. So we want to definitely, so again, next week is my live masterclass training. The link will be in the description of this video. The week after that, I'll be sharing that research about the brand new December, just last month, that was released, a study where they're looking at the neurotoxins that are present in MS plasma and spinal fluid. And then the following week, we're going to start the challenge, the Live Disease-Free Diet Challenge, which will be really fun. And you can get a head start if you go to the Live Disease-Free community, grab the guidelines and the cheat sheet, and start to implement. And that way you have a greater chance, because if you do more entries, you will have a greater chance to win cash that you can use for whatever you need, whether it's Christmas Visa cards or your Visa, or maybe it's you want to buy supplements or whatever it is that you need for your health. All right, with that, I'm going to let you guys go, and we will talk to you either live on my masterclass training or the following week. Take care and bye-bye for now.